कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, अरे कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो। साहब मिले सबूरी में, अरे साहब मिले सबूरी में, मन लागो यार फकीरी में, मन लागो।
Relationship between ego and moksha. Only the ego wants liberation. Only the ego resists liberation. That's it. Nobody wants liberation more than the ego. Nobody resists liberation more than the ego. You'll keep clamoring for it all your life. And when it presents itself, as it does very often, you close your eyes and turn your back towards it. And when it appears to have gone away, then you again yell and wonder, why does it elude me? Why can't I have it? What price do I need to pay? What more do I need to do? What mantra, what sadhana, what kriya, what method, what principle? And when, in spite of all your methods, liberation still does occasionally seem possible. I said, in spite of all that you try to do, sometimes liberation still seems possible. And then we make it a point to stonewall it, to defeat it, to frustrate it, to act as if we have seen nothing. There is a song in Hindi that represents the relationship between ego and moksha, ego and liberation, quite succinctly. The lines say, मिलो न तुम तो हम घबराएं, मिलो तो आँख चुराएं, हमें क्या हो गया है. If I do not get you, if I do not meet you, I am worried. If I do meet you, I shy away. When I do not meet you, I am worried. I want to meet. And when you do indeed come face to face, I shy away. What has happened to me? तुम ही को दिल का हाल बताएं, तुम ही से राज छुपाएं, हमें क्या हो गया है. Only you really know what's the matter with me. And only from you do I want to keep it concealed what the matter is with me? There is nothing that we block and resist more than that which we apparently want.
Why?
Because to get that would mean that you cannot want anymore.
Yeah.
You want to keep wanting. If you get what you want, how will you want? You are the wanter. We are identified with wanting. Our identity is that I am the seeker. Liberation is the end of all seeking. What will happen to the seeker then? What will happen to all his cleverness, all his means, all his methods, all his ownership, all his claim over enlightenment, all the credit that he assumes on finding certain paths? What will happen to all of it? There is a famous story about Swami Ram. He was visiting the West and he was speaking on freedom one day. The audience has said, yes, we love what you say, but we want a practical taste of freedom. Intellectually you have told us everything, but we really want to know more experientially. Swami Ram tried to say something, assuage them, but that day the audiences were insistent. They said, no, we really want to know what freedom is. So he said, all right, I'm giving you freedom right now. I'm giving you absolute, total, final freedom right now. Who all want to take it? This will be the last freedom you can ever want, the highest, the climax of all freedoms. How many of you want it?
Everyone.
No one.
No?
Of course, everyone wants freedom.
Yeah?
Everyone wants freedom.
No one rose to take it. If you get freedom, where are you left? What happens to you?
In bliss.
There is no bliss. Bliss is only for the one who dreams of freedom. In freedom, there is freedom even from bliss, from all kinds of experiencing and all experiencers. Really, it is a misconception that in freedom lies an experience of bliss or any other kind of pleasure. Freedom is freedom from all that you can conceptualize. And that is why when it beckons, when it knocks, then we turn a deaf ear to it. Otherwise, freedom is immanent. Otherwise, it is our nature. Why would we be deprived of it? If in spite of it being so closed, we still find it so far, the reason is obvious. The onset of freedom is the demise of what we think ourselves to be. So we keep freedom at bay. And the best way of keeping freedom at an arm's length is to keep trying for freedom. The best way to ensure that liberation stays away is to keep trying for liberation as hard as possible. Who am I? The one who is trying so hard to be liberated. Yes, of course. Sure. Liberation is the cessation of all attempts towards liberation. Freedom is freedom from even the thought of freedom. When you no more are concerned with freedom, when you no more are desirous of any bliss associated with freedom, then you know you are free.
Are you free?
In matters of reality, one does not start from a point of bondage and do something to reach a point of freedom or liberation. In matters of truth, the beginning itself is the end. You cannot cover a distance. If you start off believing that you are in bondage, then whatever you will do to gain freedom will just be an extension of that bondage. So, to be free, you have to begin with immediately realizing that you indeed are free. And that freedom is not a thought. That freedom is a rejection of all that which keeps you in bondage. That freedom is a rejection of all that which keeps you limited. If you start with the idea that there is something wrong with you, then from there you can never reach a position of perfection. To gain perfection, set out as a perfect one. Freedom is only for the already free. If you are already free, you will have freedom and freedom and freedom. And if your self-concept, if your assumption about yourself is that no, there are limits, barriers, and I have to operate from within them, then you are validating your limits. And by validating your limits, you will not attain the limitless. This evening may be a good opportunity for us to figure out the various ways in which we block our freedom. I repeat, freedom is not a thing of attainment. You cannot go out somewhere to get it. It is imminent, available, something that you can't really run away from. And yet, if we find ourselves deprived of it, surely we ourselves are in conspiracy against us. So we must figure out the various ways in which we block our freedom, the various ways in which we support bondage, the various daily decisions, ways of living, patterns, thoughts, where we say, no, I'm small, I'm petty, I can't do beyond this. Freedom is always ready to come, always. It requires no effort from our part to get liberation or moksha or emancipation. No effort at all, no method, no technique. All that is required is a basic acceptance of how we block that which keeps incessantly knocking. How we refuse to open the door, how we refuse to answer the call. We don't have to chase the truth. Truth is knocking. You don't have to try really hard to figure out where the truth is. It's standing next to you, so close that it is indistinguishable from you. Then our only responsibility, only obligation is to identify how and why we deny ourselves the truth. I repeat, our obligation is not to chase the truth, but to find out the various ways in which we block it. We block it when it is coming. We block it when it is in fact pleading. A few hints. Where there are opinions and attitudes, there is blockage. Opinions and attitudes block the truth. Where there are personal preferences, personal priorities, and individual choices, truth is blocked. Because the person that we are and all the choices and preferences and decisions of that person are always intended to continue that person, and truth is a dissolution of that person. So that person would never really decide in favor of the truth. Hence, if you are someone who gives a lot of weightage to his own thoughts, choices, decisions, way of living, his own priorities, then truth will elude you. Another hint. If you are a very thoughtful one, who calculates a lot, is quite clever, then truth will elude you. Another hint. If you have a lot to protect, a lot to defend in this world, then the truth will elude you. So find out. Yes, please.
What is the truth?
What is the truth?
Yeah.
Only the truth can ask that. And the truth will not need to ask that. So let us rather ask, what is false?
What is false?
What is false? That which is suffering. That which comes and goes. That which occupies space in the mind as an object. All that is false. That which has ever risen, ever taken birth, and hence would ever go away. That which can be thought of as a mental object. That which exists only as long as you think of it. All that is false. And it is called false precisely because it brings suffering to you. There is no other reason to call it false. The truth is that which will never betray you. The truth is that which will never become suffering. The truth is that which you can blindly depend on.
Unconditional love.
What is that?
Truth. Is that true?
No.
That is kind of truth.
Truth is not to be expressed as a concept. First of all, unconditional love is in itself a redundant phrase. Love is either unconditional or it is love not at all. But the way the phrase unconditional love is used, that way is mostly inappropriate. Unconditional love is simply the urge of the mind to remain committed to the truth in the middle of all changing conditions. Conditions may keep changing, but the mind is committed to the truth. That is unconditional love. Unconditional love is not about displaying a particular behavior of love to everybody. That would be quite childish.
So you can
Just
come
a role play. Yes, please.
So you can come from a space of unconditional love without serving people.
What can come?
You can come from a state of unconditional love without serving people.
In love, there are no people at all. If you are still seeing people and talking people, then one does not know love. In love, there is only mind and its quest for peace. Mind being attracted to peace is love. Where are people in love? What does love have to do with persons? Yeah, in movies, yes. In pop culture, yes. But not really, not in spirituality. In pop spirituality, yes. What does love have to do with persons? Love is a quality of the mind. Love is a certain pull in which the agitated mind is pulled towards tranquility. That attraction, that pull is called love. Love is not something that happens between two individuals. Love is not something that happens between persons. Yes, when the mind is drawn towards peace, then that person displays appropriate behavior towards the entire world. Not only towards persons, but also towards mountains, rivers, stones, animals, candles. Appropriate behavior. When the mind is in the right place, then one's behavior towards the entire universe is just right. One's relationship with existence is just right. And that just right relationship is not a pattern-based relationship. It is not as if you are looking at everything and smiling without reservation. You have an appropriate relationship, which means you heal somebody and you also kill somebody. You remain with somebody and you also ignore somebody. All of that is included in love.
Why can't you love everything or anyone?
What do you mean by loving everything?
You said about the whole universe.
What do you mean by, how will you know someone loves everything? What do you mean by that?
You can love. He can love.
Because you don't find peace in everything.
What do you mean by loving everything? How will you love everything? How exactly will you know that you are loving everything?
I don't know, I've never been there. I don't know, I've never been there.
How will you? If you have heard of this, why didn't you find it fit to ask about it? How will you know if someone is loving everything? I will tell you what they mean when they say love everything. They mean display a particular behavior towards everything. Look at the candle and smile and caress the candle. Look at the puppy and smile and caress the puppy. Look at the car and smile and caress the car. Go to the tree and hug the tree. No, all of this is quite stupid. Love is not about having a particular behavior towards everything. It is about having the right behavior towards everything, the appropriate behavior. There are times when you must embrace somebody, and there are also times when you must admonish somebody. Prophets and saints have also fought wars and killed. Do you think they were not loving beings? It is because they were loving beings that they did fight. Unconditional love is not about loving everybody unconditionally. Unconditional love is about staying calm in spite of the changing conditions. Unconditional, it means the conditions don't affect me. The conditions may keep changing, but I stay at my place. I do not leave my seat. Day or night. Happiness or sadness. Plenty or penury. Full or hungry. The conditions may keep changing, but I stay put. I do not allow myself to be disturbed. I love the truth so much that my commitment towards truth is not dependent on any condition. Bring on whatever condition you may like to. I am still one pointed in my devotion, in my surrender. Bring on the harshest conditions. Bring on the most tempting conditions. Test me or detest me. But I do not sway. Here you have this candle. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the flame of the candle as a metaphor for the truly committed one. He says that just as the flame of a diya, the earthen lamp, is perfectly still in a windless place, so must your mind be. If there is no wind, do you see how the flame is? Unconditional love is to have that kind of a flame in the middle of roaring tempests. The wind is shrieking and beating, and yet the flame is refusing to take cognizance of the wind. The flame is still. That is unconditional love. An attraction towards peace and truth which gives no value to the fickle conditions around. That is unconditional love. Okay? Kindly get this notion cleared, that unconditional love means loving this and loving this and loving this. Love has nothing to do with objects. In fact, as long as you are talking the language of objects, the mind is very violent. this mind is talking of unconditional love, but is actually a very violent mind, because it is only seeing objects, and objects are division, objects are fragmentation. Whenever the mind will be busy with objects, it will only act from division and cause further division. So it will talk the language of love but cause suffering to all around.
So you're saying unconditional love is a state of being and the ability to do what you need to do. Or
The ability to let the right thing happen through you without your interference.
How do I know it's the right thing?
As long as you are interested in knowing, you will interfere. Does it happen that you trust someone so much that you don't even want to know whether or not he is performing his duty? There was a particular task you gave to someone. Has it happened with you? You entrusted someone with a particular task, and you have such trust on him that you forget even to ask the status of the task. That is unconditional love. You give yourself up totally. You fall into the arms of existence and go to sleep. You just relax. You don't even ask what is becoming of you. You know whatever is happening to you is surely the best thing that can happen, because the one taking care of you is the best well-wisher you can ever get. So you don't even inquire, you don't even check, you don't even confirm. You say whatever must be happening, okay. Why do I need to settle the accounts? Why do I need to make the calculations? Why do I need to check the profit and loss statement? All must be all right. When the real happens, you will have no way of knowing that the real is happening. The real always happens in your absence. And it's such a mercy that it happens in our absence, because if it happens in our presence, then we would block it. The most beautiful that can occur to you would occur without your consent, without your planning. The most auspicious that can come to you would always come unreasonably, unpredictably, without your agreement. So if you are someone who is too concerned about maintaining security at the doors, if you are someone who keeps a CCTV vigil, then you are quite likely to shoo away the truth. Keep your doors open. You have no way of ascertaining the truth. You have no way of determining the truth. Your question will never be answered. You will never know whether this is the truth. Truth is known as an absence of experience, which is a great relief, because all experience is inherently suffering. Even that which appears as pleasure is de facto suffering. Hence, there is no experience of truth. Truth comes as a relief from experience, as a welcome break from experience, as a gap in the stream of experience. Do you really remember your intense moments of love? Do you? Or are they moments in which the memory experiences a blackout? When you are really into it, memory fails to capture the event. That's one hint. Mental activity ceases. So you cannot come out of it and say, wow, I just had a fabulous experience. If you had a fabulous experience, you just had a fabulous experience of suffering more. So really, when truth touches you, you come out of it and say, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. And this simple statement is a statement of innocent surrender. I can't know. I can't say. So if you come across people who are very loudly and assertively making claims about their experience with the truth or their experience with liberation, then just be cautious. They are talking of the impossible, and they are saying something which even beginners in spirituality will never claim, because they know it is not something to be claimed. These are traps of the ego. Just mind them. If you will try to have unconditional love, all you will get is hypocrisy. Because you will walk around with a painted smile on your lips. You'll say, oh, I'm loving everything. As if love is a matter of display. As if love is a matter of a particular behavior. Krishna tells Arjun, kill. Do you think he is a loveless being? What happens to unconditional love then? If unconditional love is about smiling at everybody and saying, wow, you are the prettiest fairy I have ever seen. And here Krishna is telling Arjun, you kill, and kill mercilessly. And the Sikh Gurus kill, and Prophet Muhammad kills, and Jesus lashes out at the money chargers. What do you think? They are loveless? Why don't you ask all these questions? One of the greatest sermons was in the battlefield. Was that a loveless sermon? And Buddha leaves his wife and kid behind, and Mahavir leaves his kingdom behind. And the wife weeps, the kid cries. What do you think? They are loveless people?
Loveless, but what does killing have to do with love?
Because what you usually call as unconditional love means you will not hurt someone, you will be nice and sweet to everyone. They are not being nice and sweet. They are not hesitating in hurting or killing. If the right action is to hurt or kill, then they don't hesitate. Hence, love is not related to any kind of action at all. Love is a surrendered state of mind, and from that mind, whatever action arises is just the right action. You don't need to watch your actions. Your actions will not certify that you are a loving being. You need to watch the center of your actions, the origin of your actions. From where are the actions coming? Are they coming from a contented mind, or are they coming from a frustrated mind? A smile that arises from a frustrated mind is a very violent smile. And from a contented mind, even if you scold someone, it's a very loving admonishment. You have scolded in love. Yes, please.
About truth. So is death is kind of truth?
Death is a fact.
Okay. But it's also a condition.
All facts are conditions. A fact is something that the senses verify, certify as happening. So death is a fact, just as birth is a fact. We just said truth is not something that comes and goes. So birth and death, all states of the body, they all are things that come and go. They don't qualify as the truth. We had also said that whatever comes and goes is always a cause of grief. When it comes, then you experience insecurity, trying to protect and prolong it, and when it goes, then you experience frustration that you couldn't protect and prolong it. Truth is that which is not a part of the stream of time. You don't have to bother about it. You don't have to wonder whether it has come. You don't have to ensure that it has not gone away. You can have blind faith. You know that you won't be let down. Won't it be nice to have something like that in your life? Something that never betrays you. You may fail yourself. The truth is that which never fails you. Won't it be wonderful to have that with you? To live in that? Do you see the kind of security there is in truth? And do you see how insecure we normally feel? And how desperately we try to feel secure? Truth is that security. You can call it by any name. You can call it silence, peace, relaxation. It's a deep inner sureness, something that you can never lose. Whatever can be lost is always a cause of frustration, is it not? If you have something that has come from the world, you also know that someday it can be taken back by the world. Possessions, relationships, they all stand the risk of disappearance. And wherever there is the risk of disappearance, there is stress and tension. The truth is that which carries no risk of disappearance. It's a deep inner sureness about nothing. You are very sure about what? About nothing. But that sureness gives you freedom from fear. Now you don't tremble at every small thing. Now you don't get nightmares. Now you don't seek protection. Now you don't use relationships as crutches. Now you don't use money for psychological fulfillment. Now when the world comes to exact its pound of flesh, you are not worried beyond a point. You say, take away whatever you want to take away, and then take away some more. I'm still all right. I'm still all right for no reason. Because if there is a reason, then that reason can be taken away. Truth is a deep inner feeling of being all right for no reason at all. It's an intrinsic state of health. A health that cannot be touched by any disease. A health that demands no protection. Am I able to relate? Yes.
I was just thinking truth and unconditional love is the same thing.
Just a little bit of difference. Unconditional love is a pull that is experienced by the mind. A pull experienced towards the truth. So they are related but not really one. The mind is usually in a state of restlessness, and the mind does not like it. The mind does not like it for the simple reason that restlessness is not its nature. It wants peace. That pull towards peace is love. And there is no need to call it unconditional love, because love is unconditional. There is no need for overemphasis. If it is not unconditional, it is not love at all.
What is then conditional love, or is there such a thing?
That's a very nice question. What is conditional love? That which we normally call as love. I love you because you are so pretty. I love him because he is a top athlete. I love myself for the way I speak. I love God for God is so generous. I love my country for I was born here. What is common in all these statements? What is common in all these statements? There is a reason, there is a condition. So if I am not born in a country, then I wouldn't love. If you were not so pretty, then I wouldn't love. If the athlete fails to perform, then I all this is conditional love. This love persists only as long as the conditions are favorable. When the seasons change, this love also withers away. It is a very seasonal love, a very dependent love. It is not love at all. It is just a certain attraction born out of desire. It can't even be called as love. Had you looked any differently, the love would have evaporated. If the boyfriend stops earning, love goes for a toss. All of this is not love. All of this is just conditional love. Conditional love is love with a reason. The pull of the mind towards the center is an unreasonable pull. That is why it is such a powerful pull. That is why it is such an undeniable pull, inexorable. Had there been a reason, the clever mind would have found a way to bypass that reason or co-opt that reason. The mind surrenders only when there is no reason. All reasons are within the purview of mind, and hence surrender cannot be for a reason. The mind has to surrender to something immensely bigger than itself. That surrender has to be an unreasonable surrender. Do you see this? If there is a reason why you surrender, then that reason is still within the mind. Then the mind is surrendering to nothing but itself, and hence it is not surrender at all. There is a lot that attracts us without reason. Don't resist it, don't run away from it. If you are someone who has been habituated to reasons, to protection, then you will find the call of the unreasonable a little terrifying. Don't give support to your fear. Don't turn your back. You will find a very good reason to turn your back. You will say, there is no reason. Hence, why should I allow myself to be attracted? First of all, the reason must be made clear. Then I will decide whether it is a valid reason. First of all, the reason must be made clear, and then I will judge whether it is a valid reason. And there is no reason. So you get a nice reason to reject the call. And the reason is that the caller was not quoting any reason. The caller was saying, just come. How can I just come? You have to first tell me in detail what will be the benefits by coming, what will I lose, and hence what will be the net gain, what is the guarantee, in which country can I file a suit, how will you pay me damages. All of these things must be first made clear. Only then will I allow myself to be drawn towards you. Love doesn't talk this language. Truth doesn't talk this language. It simply says, come. And if you are someone who can't accept simple invitations, then you will keep missing. Call of truth is a lover's touch. It gently touches you and whispers, come. Now if you understand, you go. And if you calculate, then you miss.
How do we let go of fears?
How do you hold on to fears?
Fear just arises.
It doesn't just
Certain
arise.
situation
No, fear is not one's nature. It can't just arise.
from the mind.
We ensure that fear remains. In the beginning itself, I had said that this is a good opportunity to figure out how we block the real. Fearlessness is real. We need to figure out how we block it. So how do we protect our fears? What is fear? Fear is a thought that you will lose something. Alright? Fear is a thought that you will lose something. And you can lose only that which you have obtained from the world. So the more is your dependency on the world, the more afraid you are. You maintain your fears by maintaining your dependency on the world. The more is the stuff that you have accumulated and possessed from the world, the more will be the thought that this stuff may be lost one day. That is fear. To relate to stuff collected from the world is to relate to fear. Those who want freedom from fear must simply have freedom from accumulations. We deliberately hold on to fear by defining our self-concept in terms of the world. You say, for example, that you are a respectable man. Now, from where has this respect come? The world has accorded you this respect, right? The world has accorded you this respect and you have internalized it. The more you become dependent on the world to give you respect, the more you will be afraid of losing respect. So don't define yourself as the respectable one. If you define yourself as the respectable one, then you will be dependent on the world to maintain that respect. And you will be afraid that that respect can be snatched away anytime, any day.
Yes. This respect, acknowledgement from other people is almost like a biological need.
It is not. And even if it is, do you really want to let it remain that way? You really think you can't do without it?
It makes me feel good.
It makes you feel good as long as you don't have your own eyes to look at yourself. If you know that you are respectable, do you really require others' ratification? So to be dependent on others is to firstly believe that you are incapable of looking at yourself. What is the need for this indirect observation? Why must you look at yourself through others' eyes? And then allow fear to dominate you? Is that really needed?
It's not needed.
But it is there.
It is
It is there. It's a very honest statement, yes. It is not needed, but it is there. And that itself means that one need not support it to be there. It is needlessly there. It must be unwelcome. So just withdraw your welcome. That's all that is needed. Just withdraw your welcome.